Hello and welcome back for another video on ARK Survival Ascended and to another new modded creature showcase, where I will be showcasing 5 new and exciting creature mods that have released in the past few weeks. All of these mods can be played cross-platform, 4 of them are free and the final one is a premium mod. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. Kicking things off, we have Faye's Menagerie from Artsy Faye, which adds the Platysaurus to your game. The Platysaurus is the creature I was probably most looking forward to checking out on this list. It comes in 3 different variants. You can find the regular variant roaming the jungles, grasslands, and redwoods on most maps, the Scorched variant in the canyons and green desert on Scorched Earth, and the Aberrant variant in the green and blue zones on Aberration. And as always, it looks beautiful. You'll also find them spawning in the city, sunken forest, and desert dome on Extinction. They are common creatures and can be tamed relatively early in the game, tamed via typical knockout methods, preferring regular kibble for the best taming effectiveness. Once tamed, can be saddled up at level 25. The Platysaurus serves as an exceptional early game mount, having average stats across the board and a decent carry weight, a great sprinting speed with the ability to jump small distances, having 2 attacks at its disposal, a primary claw attack, which can be used while sprinting, and also a secondary head bash attack, which deals more damage but has a slower attack speed. This attack can also be used to efficiently gather berries and small amounts of wood and thatch. It can grab and pick up smaller creatures, which is pretty cool, either carrying them to a safe location or slicing them up mid-clutch. It does also have the option to pivot on the spot, which is a feature I wish a lot of vanilla creatures had. This allows it to hit targets much easier, and if you want to dish out more damage, you can with your weapons while mounted. It comes into its own with its utility. The saddle can be used as a portable mortar and pestle, and will naturally convert narco berries into fermented narco berries. These can be used as taming food for herbivores, being slightly better than mejo berries, but not as good as Archelon algae. The mod adds an array of new consumables that can be crafted from the saddle, which you can force feed to your tamed creatures. The Herbivore Delight, once force fed, will grant herbivores the Justice buff, giving them 10 health regeneration per second, a 20% movement speed boost, a 20% extra damage output, and also a 25% damage resistance for the duration of 2 minutes. Kinda OP if you ask me. Anyway, moving on to the next 5 consumables. However, as of now, they all currently only affect herbivores. The Adrenaline Pet Brew, once force fed to creatures, will give 4 health per second, while also buffing the creature's weight, damage, and resistance by 20%, also lasting for 2 minutes. The Medical Pet Brew is a med brew for your tames, giving them health regeneration for 4 seconds and has a cooldown of 60 seconds. The Energy Brew works the exact same way, but for stamina regeneration instead. The Speed Pet Brew, which once force fed, will boost a creature's speed by 25% for 80 seconds. Maybe the speed is a little bit too quick, as I do feel like Usain Bolt on something dodgy. And finally, we have the Baby Food, which can be force fed to any baby to increase imprinting by 30%. I'm not entirely sure, but it does seem like you can only use it once per creature, which I hope is the case. I do love the idea of the new consumables. I just think some of them are a little strong. Either way, the Platysaurus will be an amazing addition to your game, and it's probably one of my favorite modded herbivores as of now. Up next is none other than the Stegomastax from Snapping. It's actually called the Draconics, but let's be honest, it looks like a Pego and a Stego had a baby, and there's nothing that will change my mind. It is an early game herbivore found spawning around the beaches, jungles, and grasslands on most maps. Tamed passively, preferring simple kibble from your final hotbar slot or any type of berries. Once tamed, can be saddled up at level 15, which is crafted from the player's inventory. The Draconics acts as a great early game traversal land mount and basic resource gatherer, having 2 attacks. The primary attack is a bite, which is great for harvesting berries, and the secondary attack comes in the form of a thumb to the face, taking a page out of the Iguanodon's book, which deals twice as much damage as the bite, but has a much slower attack speed, where it can harvest fiber, thatch, meat, and hide efficiently, and small amounts of wood too, while also having a massive weight reduction for fiber in its inventory. Its attacks aren't the strongest by any means, however it does receive a passive that increases the rider's melee damage by 50%, so if you do have a character that is pumped in melee, they could be very useful to ride into battle, as you will be able to dish out a lot of damage while swinging your weapon of choice. A unique feature of the Draconics is that they have slightly randomized hairstyles and proportions, so they rarely ever look identical. I really like this feature, and I thought it was pretty cool. Well, I think it's safe to say that we as ARK players all love the otter, and what better way to experience an otter than riding a giant one into battle? This is the Noble Otter from Eclipse Modding. There has been a few other mods that introduce rideable otters, but this is probably my favourite. They seem to have much prettier colours too. Oh, look at that cute little face. Damn, I feel like I'm saying that a lot in my last few videos, but look at them. Oh, So cute. You'll find them spawning in the same locations as the vanilla otter, so mostly in rivers and lakes, seemingly tamed the same way as the vanilla otter. However, when dragging a fish and hand feeding it, you can interact with the noble otter to feed it, and it even performs an eating animation, but nothing actually happens. So you still have a fish in your hand, and the taming bar doesn't go up. So unless I'm missing something, the taming process is not working as intended and needs looking into. So please let me know in the comments if you are experiencing the same thing, or if I'm just doing things wrong. Once tamed, it can be saddled up at level 75. I do love the shiny look of the saddle. It's really cool how it has protection around its tail too. A very nice touch. Some of the textures are a little off though. When looking through the reins on the inside, you can see through them, but when looking at the outside, the shiny texture fully covers the otter, which is a shame as it makes the saddle look a little off. But I'm not complaining, I just wanted to point it out in case the modders didn't know. You can also equip them with high quality helmets for extra armor protection. These do show up as invisible once equipped, but are still present, giving them massive damage reduction, depending on the quality of the helmet. It is stated to have similar stats to a Shadow Mane, but deals much less damage, probably more comparable to a Carno, so it is not to be underestimated. It can do pretty much everything the vanilla otter can, giving the rider a massive insulation bonus, which also scales when leveling its melee damage stat, and can also hold more than one of the same artifact inside its inventory. Pretty awesome considering they can fit into all cave entrances. New abilities include harvesting silica pearls, while also having a 25% weight reduction for them, as well as many other ocean resources like oil, black pearls, and angler gel, just to name a few. An exceptional swimmer, able to swim faster than most, also receiving the hydrated buff when touching or submerged in water, receiving 15% melee damage, 20% movement speed, and 25% health regeneration. Adding to that, it also receives the Argentavis rapid regeneration buff when biting or consuming a carcass, giving it health and stamina regeneration for 20 seconds. And you'll be glad to know it is immune to the jellyfish dismount. The otter will still get stunned, but the rider won't be dismounted. So it is packed full of abilities. Maybe too many if you ask me, but hey, a rideable otter is a rideable otter, and they are a whole lot of fun to use. But yeah, I did have to force tame all the otters in this video due to the taming process not working. So hopefully the modders are aware of this and it will get fixed soon. Up next, we have the Oxalia from Blue Suko. Quite evidently a relative of the Spinosaurus family. It does state in the mod description that this mod is not 100% finished. Similar to the Spino, it is stated to spawn in swamps, rivers, and lakes on most maps. However, they did not spawn naturally at all for me on the island or Ragnarok. So the spawns definitely need looking into, as if they don't spawn, you can't tame them. Due to this, I had to spawn in a wild one to be able to tame it. Tamed via typical knockout methods, preferring exceptional kibble for the best taming effectiveness, or any type of meat. It can be saddled up at level 75. Once tamed, I would say it shares roughly the same stats as a Rex, but does have quite a lot more health. It does also state in the mod description that tamed ones are lacking some of the attacks of wilds, but this will change in the future. Currently, the primary attack consists of a hefty bite, which looks more like it wants to go in for a cheeky hug. The secondary attack consists of a menacing cosmetic roar, while pressing the crouch key is a giant stomp attack. That deals more damage than the primary attack, while dealing massive knockback to the target and also temporarily stunning them in place for a short duration of time. I did also notice that when unmounted, they did seem to use a claw attack that deals a nasty bleed effect similar to the Phylocolio. I could not, however, figure out how to use this attack myself when mounted, so maybe it hasn't been implemented yet. It's a little sluggish on land, but becomes agile in water and a very quick swimmer. They do not possess an oxygen stat, making them viable for deep sea diving. I must admit, it's not my favourite Spino mod out there. It still needs a bit of work to iron out the kinks. It'll be nice to have a few more attacks. However, the dino as a whole looks great. Kinda looks like a cute, derpy version of the Spino. They can also come in some really pretty colours. I did also want to quickly mention that having this mod installed completely broke my photo mode, where I was unable to use it at all, which was kinda odd and a little disappointing, as I love recording these creatures with photo mode to showcase them in their best light. Sadly, I was not able to use photo mode for the Oxalia, so the footage isn't as clean as I would like. As soon as I uninstalled the mod, my photo mode was working again, so no idea what that's all about. Anyway, with all that being said, it does have a lot of potential, which is why I wanted to showcase it here. But in my own honest opinion, there's still no Spino mod better than the Paddletail Spino from Mertbert, so I will be keeping a very close eye on this one for any future updates. So I do normally steer away from premium creature mods for these new mod creature showcases. However, I have been eagerly anticipating the Sulfur Titan mod for a very long time now. It comes from a collective of talented modders and will set you back a sum of $5 US. It is a freemium mod, which means it can be installed on a server, and any players that don't own the mod will still be able to join the server and at least can still encounter it in the wild. Plus, if you've made it this far into the video, you are in luck of winning a free code to this mod, as I will be giving away 2 free codes. So to enter, it's simple. Join my Discord server, navigate to the announcements channel, and react to this post with a heart emoji, which will automatically enter you into the raffle, where I will announce the winners in the next week or so via the Discord. Link will be in the description of the video. So the Sulfur Titan is in its natural habitat on extinction, found in the sulfur fields and in the south wasteland areas. However, it will also naturally spawn on other maps too. The island found on Carno Island, the beach party spot in the west near the snow biome, and shares spawns with Gigas on the mountains. Lava Island on the center, the dunes on Scorched Earth, the surface on Aberration, the dunes on Ragnarok, and the mountains on Astreus. Firstly, wild sulfur titans can be killed and harvested for unique resources, including crystallized sulfur, which is required in crafting the saddle and many other items from the mod. You will be needing a lot of this, especially if you plan on fully utilizing a tamed sulfur titan's attacks and abilities. It can also be produced passively inside a tamed sulfur titan's inventory, while also having a massive 90% weight reduction for it, so taming up a bunch will give you a steady supply. It is also rewarded in abundance after slaying the alpha sulfur titan, which we'll get onto in just a little bit. It does have a unique taming method, similar to the Titanosaur, where you will have to shoot it in the face with a rocket launcher. After a few shots, it will crouch down and reveal various weak spot nodules for you to shoot on its body. If you can destroy 5 in quick succession, it will be claimable, where you will have yourself your very own sulfur titan. It can be saddled up at a whopping level 100. However, you will need to unlock the Titan terminal to craft it, which is unlocked at level 80. This is a giant structure which acts as a tech replicator. The saddle does also feature a platform which you can place structures on top of, so there is always an option of boasting a mobile base if that tickles your fancy. It has an array of devastating attacks at its disposal, consisting of 3 directional primary attacks, depending on which way you are facing the camera. All deal a lot of damage and can also harvest some resources from rocks and trees. Its secondary attack comes in the form of a giant claw swipe, dealing slightly more damage than the primary attacks, but has a slower attack speed. This will also slow targets for 8 seconds. And if that wasn't enough for you, it also has a body slam, crushing its enemies into dust, dealing massive damage. And adding on to these melee attacks, it has a variety of powerful ranged attacks too. Similar to the Wyvern, it has its own breath attack. This deals tick damage and will suffocate any targets hit by it. A cheeky boulder throw does what it says on the tin. When pressing the jump button, it will enter its artillery stance, and in this state it also has 2 more ranged attacks. When pressing the primary attack button, it will shoot a blast plasma shot, dealing high damage and costing 100 crystallized sulfur per shot. The secondary artillery attack is the beam, so think lightning wyvern but 10 times more devastating. This does cost a whopping 500 crystallized sulfur per use and will drain the longer the attack is active, and can be cancelled when pressing the attack button again. Finally, we have the Nova Bubble, which costs 300 crystallized sulfur and will stay active for 30 seconds upon use. Any ally in the bubble will gain health regeneration, and any enemies inside will take health damage over time, which cannot be negated by saddle armor. It of course will block projectiles too. An important thing to note is that all of these special ranged attacks and abilities have cooldowns. And even though an attack is on cooldown, you could still waste the same amount of crystallized sulfur in attempting to use them, so be sure to wait for the attack cooldowns to end before using them. The mod also adds its own boss version of the Sulfur Titan. This of course is the alpha variant. This can only be summoned from the Titan terminal, so be sure to summon it well away from your main base, as that could be the last thing you'll regret. The alpha does have a whopping 1 million health and shares the same devastating attacks as a tamed Sulfur Titan, minus the artillery attacks of course. And out of nowhere, this thing Hulk smashed me into oblivion from the safety of my Giga saddle. So I guess it wasn't so safe after all. Once slain, a loot crate will spawn in, where you will be rewarded greatly for your efforts. A bunch of tasty loot, element and crystallized sulfur, a boss flag which can be placed down to give nearby allies a damage buff, your own Sulfur Titan chibi pet, and a trophy that is a crafting requirement to craft a Sulfur Titan capsule, which passively produces sulfur essence in its inventory over time, which is required in powering some of the new items. You will also unlock a bunch of new techgrams to enjoy, including the sulfur grenade, deals some damage while also causing targets to suffocate in the cloud. The sulfur sword can be used as a melee weapon or to repair structures, and also a sulfur jetpack, which acts like a tech chest piece, but can be attached to any type of chest piece in the game. It also transforms you into Forrest Gump, or Usain Bolt, take your pick. All I know is that no one's going to be catching you anytime soon. More features do also include breeding. Yes, they can breed with one another, believe it or not, which of course means imprinted and potentially mutated titans at your disposal, which is crazy. And just in case you are wondering, yes, somehow they are also allowed to enter all vanilla boss fight arenas, as far as I am aware. Doesn't seem very balanced to me, but hey, I love everything about this mod and I'm really enjoying using it on Extinction. And that just about wraps up the video for today. I hope you all enjoyed it or found it helpful in any way, and if you did, please don't forget to like, comment, share around and subscribe for more, and don't forget to join my Discord and react to the post for a chance to win a code to the Sulfur Titan mod. And I'll catch you all in the next one. Take care, goodbye.